And a lot of people out there, you know, they'll say, Josh, why wouldn't you just, if somebody brings you a slam dunk deal and says, hey, we'll pay you a couple grand, why wouldn't you take that? And the reality of it is, you know, running this business, if you really want to do it at the 100K a month level, you got to think of it a little bit differently. And a couple grand is the time that's going to take up, and the energy that's going to take up, the distraction that's going to take up from working your leads and getting to that next 20K deal. It's just not going to be worth it at the end of the month. That's one thing that's key. The other thing that's equally important is that, say somebody brings you a deal. Let's just say even it's a $10,000 deal, nothing special. And they say, hey, I'll give you $2 grand for selling this. And you think, hey, I think I can sell that deal, like why not? You make $2 grand. And then the next deal they can't get sold. They're doing everything, and they bring you this deal at the last minute and they say, hey, can you get this sold? And it's a whale. You get it sold for 40 grand and you make $2 grand. You would have still got that 40 grand deal and you would have made 20 on it if you did it that way. The other deal you would have made 5 on, or let's say you don't get that deal. So point being, you know, how many deals is it going to take at $2 grand? And this is the same thing even with your paid leads, your marketing leads, or if you're out there, you know, grinding and banging and knocking on doors and making cold calls and really doing a lot of prospecting. Oh, we can get the carpool in. It really doesn't matter where you're getting your deals from, but it takes a lot of small deals to make what you can make on just one good deal. So that's so fundamental for wholesaling. Like, the thing is, really, the equation to get to 100K, we have a video, we can probably put that up right here, that talks about that. It's like the equation to get to 100 grand a month. It's not that hard. Well, first of all, what am I going to average per deal? And that's the first thing. It's so important. So you decide where you're going to make a deal. Say, all right, well, I need to make 20 grand a deal. Okay, I'm going to make 20 grand a deal. How many deals do I need to make 100 grand this month? I need 5 deals. Okay, well, if I need 5 deals, how many leads do I need to get 5 deals? Well, that's going to depend on my conversion. If I can close 1 in 10 leads, then I'm going to need 50 leads. At this point, I mean, we've got so many buyers that if a buyer pulls a fast one on us, they're going to lose their earnest money if they have a deal going on. As far as like a buyer just, you know, not buying from us again because they see how much money we made, they probably wouldn't see it on YouTube. They could, but where they are going to see it is on the settlement statement. So when the deal closes, when they go to sign the closing, they see the purchase price, the tax, prorations, all the numbers of the deal, and on there it'll include the assignment fee, which is the spread. And that's the first time they see it, because the contract just discloses the total price they're paying and states that it includes the assignment fee. But when they sign those closing papers, they see the number, and that's what holds them in. $10,000 non-refundable earnest money, they're not going to walk away from that. And that's why I do 10,000. A lot of people will say, you know, are more comfortable doing a couple thousand. That's really just fear and being timid, and there's no reason to do that in this business. Should be confident. You know, he who has the gold makes the rules. And you've got the wholesale deal, you've got the gold. The cash buyer wants the gold. They're paying less in money than the value of that gold or that property. So those buyers that do that, you know, I've got no time for them. I've got no patience for them. I don't understand them. It's a losing mindset. You know, this guy that we just sold the property to last night, or that I signed the contract this morning, you know, he's bought a whole bunch of properties from us this year. He knows what we make. I'm sure we've made some smaller deals with him this year, and we've made some bigger deals with him. You know, this one's a 20K deal, but I'm not worried about him seeing that, you know. The numbers work for him. He's got a great business model. But yeah, it's just, you just got to build that buyers list. And using the agent cash buyers list, like, that's the whole thing. That's the key to it right there.
We had a deal. It was so stressful, actually really frustrating me too. We ended up keeping the property, but we had a deal right before the new year. We had this deal where the buyer, it was kind of like, it was a fluke that he met the seller. The buyer met the seller. Usually we run in advance. We don't let that happen. In this case, it happened. The seller wasn't supposed to be at the property. He happened to stop by and be the lead deacon with some stuff. The house was vacant. And the buyer, it was when the buyer went over there for his drive-by. And anyways, they got talking and found out we were making $40,000. And I have a clip, I'll roll this here in a minute, where he goes, "You're trying to make $30 on this house?" And I was eating my salad for lunch. I'm talking to him. I go, "No, 40. So let's play that clip.
Okay, so he's netting 190. Correct. Yeah, so you guys are trying to make 30 grand off of this thing?
40.
Yeah, and that's what you think you're, okay. That's my whole thing.
So isn't that funny? So I just pulled that from my desk, man. But that turned into a thing where he tried to back out. He tried to get the seller back out. My attorney's dealing with both of them. That buyer goes away. We call him and breach the contract. Another person comes in to buy the deal, and she breached the contract, not because she didn't want to. She couldn't get her funding lined up. It was a great deal. She wanted to jump in on it. And I was selling it to her for like 5 grand less or maybe 10 grand less than I had sold it to him, just because we had to close in like 3 days. So then her crap fell through, and the seller's like, if you can't close, I'm out of here. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, just slam dunk it. So I just, you know, called up, I call him Uncle Steve, my funding partner that'll fund any deal in 24 hours on a phone call. You know, if the deal's there, he'll do it. So I called him up, I said, met him at the bank. They opened the vault for him. We got the money, funded the deal, and it ended up, what we ended up doing actually was we got earnest money from both buyers that backed out. The first guy that thought we were making too much money, he ended up, he tried to sue us, and like, we're like, bring it on. And then he was like, okay, keep my earnest money. Let's just call it a day. We're like, okay.
Are you trying to be the biggest, baddest company, or are you trying to create an awesome lifestyle? Because having the biggest, baddest company sometimes sucks, and it comes with a lot of stress, a lot of problems, a lot of overhead, a lot of people, and not as much money coming into your personal bank account to go out and enjoy the week at the beach or the lake or whatever, as opposed to maybe you have a small team and you crush it on your deals. You don't have that high overhead. You don't have that high marketing budget. Now, you should still be spending money on marketing budget and overhead if you're doing consistent deals, but you're bringing so much more money into your actual pockets. And that's what it's about, right? Like having a great wholesale business. So back when I started in real estate in 2009, and I was with Keller Williams, they used to talk about having businesses worth owning. And that's what I think it's all about. Not having this giant business that's a pain in the butt, but having a business that is worth owning, because you can go in, enjoy your day, make a lot of money, cut out, have a nice evening with your family, cut out on the weekend, go to the lake, go to the beach, buy that vacation home. Have that awesome Christmas. Give your kids that great birthday party. Have the time to show them that they have to work hard and they have to do the right things as well if they want to have a good life when they grow up.
Turn my contract into money and get paid, which is why we come to the business every day, right? We talk to sellers, we send out our marketing, we talk to sellers. Our goal is to make money. Why wouldn't we protect ourselves? So there's a couple points here. The first one is that you have to protect yourself. Now, I want to tell a quick story. This was about 5 years ago. I had a deal in which the mother had passed away and it had gone down to the daughter, and the daughter was selling me the house, and I locked up the purchase contract, took pictures. The next day, I sent the property out and I sold it, and it was a $40,000 assignment. Okay, so we're in escrow. We're supposed to close in 2 weeks. I'm going to make $40,000. I'm all excited. Seller calls me back and says, oh my gosh, my nephew found out I was selling the house. He would like to buy it. And so, you know, can we back out of this deal because he wants to buy it? And I thought, being the nice person I am, that I was doing the right thing by letting them out of the purchase contract. And it was about a month or two later, I don't even remember why, but for some reason I thought, you know, I'm just going to check on that property, see if anything's happened. And I punched it in the tax records, and I saw that the property had sold about a week after I released my contract to another investment company for $10,000 more. And I learned a couple things. One thing I learned is to dig a little further when somebody wants to back out, because maybe I could have just paid them an extra 10 grand. They would have been happy. We still would have made 30,000. Okay. But the other thing I learned is that sellers and buyers and everybody in the world sometimes is not honest, or anybody has the ability to be dishonest, and you have to protect yourself. So I gave up literally $40,000 of equity on this deal thinking I was doing the right thing, and I got screwed over. Okay. And that was a learning experience for me. So since then, over the years, I have, every time we have a seller that wants to back out, we immediately hand it off to our attorney. They do their job. Okay, so you need to have a real estate attorney if you're in this business. It's not a matter of if you'll have problems, it's a matter of when you'll have problems. Okay, just like rental properties are no different. So you need to have good legal counsel. And so that's the main point. And we just closed a deal right now, where I responded to my attorney. He asked me if I would sign off on a settlement. Now, in this circumstance, what happened is this was actually a deal that we owned, and we put it on the market to sell it. And this was actually went through the MLS, and because we already owned this property, and we got an offer first weekend that it hit the market. And in this offer, they wanted like a 5-day inspection period. And we countered offered them, and we said, no inspections. If you want it, $5,000 non-refundable earnest money for any reason. They agreed to it. They didn't deposit the earnest money. One day goes by, I'm calling the agent, hey, where's earnest money? Second day goes by, what's going on? Third day, finally the agent calls me back. She goes, oh, the buyer twisted his ankle. He doesn't want to do the deal anymore. I said, well, there's no contingencies in this. Now, a lot of people would stop right there and they would say, well, they never deposited earnest money. It's over. I didn't do that. I handed it off to my attorney. I said, hey, here's the contract. You know, can we file? So I handed it to my attorney. He actually, and here's the tricky part. The buyer contact info was never on the purchase contract because it was through a realtor. So had the realtor's contact info, but she wouldn't give us his address. And we thought we had his address. We found a property here in Maricopa County that had his name on it. Turns out he didn't live there. So they tried to serve him there. He wasn't there. They ended up skip tracing him. And my attorney actually charged me $75 for that skip trace. Now we do skip tracing all the time in our office, obviously for our marketing, but this was different. I wanted to make sure they got him. They were actually able to find the address that his driver's license was attached to, and it was in another state. It was in Minnesota. So they had a process server in Minnesota serve him, and his wife answered, and she refused to give her name, so they served her anyways. And literally it said like, handed to Jane Doe, who claims not to know him, but we're pretty sure it's his wife. And they like literally had a physical description. It was like about 5'5", brown hair, whatever. And I was like, that's interesting. And then all of a sudden yesterday, my attorney gets an email from that guy's attorney, and they offered to settle for $2,000. And my attorney immediately, he just CC'd me on the response. He said, no, you know, there's $5,000 was the contract. And we feel that and a judge very well rule that your client needs to pay us the $5,000 plus attorney costs, etc. And there could be more damages, because my attorney said, look, this changed the whole strategy of our owner and what he had to do with the property, because you guys signed this contract, it went pending, and then you guys did what you did and breached the contract. So that was yesterday. Today, my attorney, he just emailed me and said that they have offered $5,000 now to settle. Do I want to accept it? Now, at this point, I'm about $1,100, $1,100 into this matter with my attorney. When it's all said and done, after he drafts up the agreement and sends it over to them, I might be in at $1,500. Okay, he's a good attorney and he's not cheap, over $300 an hour. But was it worth it to make a couple calls, send it to my attorney, let him work on it while I sit here and work more real estate deals and do more deals and make more money that way, let him do his thing? And was it worth it to pay him $1,500 and get $5,000? Absolutely.